It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Well, welcome to Test Miles. This week, the show is coming to you from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I am here for the beginning of the biggest road trip of its kind in North America. It's Mini Takes the States, 4,200 miles, 18 different states, 14 different major cities, which includes approximately 1,400 Mini owners, and it's all in the aid of raising some food for those hungry people in America. But it really is about Mini people who are fanatical in so many different ways about their minis, from the mild to the wild. And Pat McKenna is with me. Pat has been on the show before. We are standing at the front of the line, and I cannot see the end of the line, Pat.
Yeah, it's minis for as far as the eye can see.
And the line of cars coming in through the tunnel into the infield is just never ending. So there is so many minis of all shapes and sizes here, and these people, some of them, 900 of them, will be driving all the way, walking up and down the line. I think probably every row. So there are 5 cars deep. Every row we found something that was kind of different, whether it was a bolt-on like jet exhaust to the back of the car, or whether it was the Texas flag, or whatever it was. People, it's really about being individual here. What have you seen that's caught your eye?
Just really looking at every single car is different. Everyone's personalized. No two are the same. I'm always looking for different product ideas, like what can we do, from the factory, taking some of these, color schemes into account, because people customize their own paint colors that aren't original to the car, which is pretty cool. So I'm just taking it all in.
And the funny thing to me is I look at it and I go, so what's the predominant feeling I get here? And I'm like, oh, the first 2 rows is like, the majority of the cars are like silver. And then I'm like, oh, but then rows 3 and 4, the majority of the cars are red. I mean, it just, there isn't, it's almost like one of those color charts when you're going to paint your house, and you fold it out and there's like 8,000 colors. That's kind of how it is.
I think the other cool thing here is just to look at all the personalized license plates, because those are just fun to look at. And our theme here for Mini Takes the States on this 10th anniversary is track to track. So we're starting here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I passed a guy today, and his license plate is track to track. So this is someone who actually went out and got a new license plate registration for track to track. So
that's incredible that someone would take that. I've seen people with T-shirts that say things like "Going All the Way" or "Mini Takes the States." There's drones here. There's loads of music. There's a sort of mini, I would say, memorabilia, like absolutely everywhere. And it's so funny, like, I'm just looking at the front row. Two of the cars in the front row have Mini Takes the States 2016 on their windshields at the top. I mean, people are really getting ready for this for a while.
Yeah, I think for what's always interesting to me is how far did someone have to travel here just to start the rally. So we're standing in front of a car that's from California. So California to Atlanta, and presumably they're going Atlanta all the way back to Palm Springs. So just for them to start the trip here is a long journey.
Now you said that, like, I've noticed the car next to it has a California, and it could almost be your car, couldn't it?
Yeah, this guy's name is McKenna. So he and I have a long, so I've taken pictures next to this car with him. So he's here, Mike McKenna, and yeah, that's a cool thing, and that's what got the conversation started, because his license plate is our last name.
Right.
No relation.
And I notice people doing lots of, I mean, they may do little things, like it might be just a graphic on the outside of the car, but at the same time, like, some people go all the way. I mean, there's the one we're standing in front of has a fin on the back.
Yeah, a fin.
I'm not saying that's definitely something I wouldn't put in, by the way, in the aftermarket equipment, because it seems kind of strange. But.
Yeah, some things are performance enhancements, and some things are just pure aesthetics.
Right. But it does have racing car seats and that sort of things in it too. And of course, the one thing that Mini has had consequently throughout the whole time has been the go-kart-like handling. That's never changed. So really that racing DNA has been there.
Absolutely. And that's, the other nice thing is we see all of the generations of cars here. So it's going back to 2002. We will have some classics here. So you and I are on the hunt for some classics going back to 1959. So we'd love to see some of those as well. But it's nice to see just the whole, every car we've made since 2002 really here represented.
So were there right-hand drives made before 2002?
Prior to 2002...
Did they make, or did people have to import them from other countries? Because obviously most of the American ones are left-hand.
They stopped coming to the U.S. in 1967 because of changes in regulation. So you'll see a few from that time period between 67 and 2002, but they're very rare because they're hard to bring in because of the emissions. So you have to. Now
anything over 25 years of age, that doesn't require emissions, so you can usually bring that in. So I could bring some older cars in now.
The interesting thing is because they were built really up until really I think 2000. Like we have back in the office, we have I think a 1999 and a 2000, and it's the classic Mini. I think they even have driver's side airbags in them. But yeah, it's a pretty rare sighting now in the U.S. So there's really not too many of those on the road, and that's what was so unique when Mini really came back to the U.S. in 2002. The job was to educate people what is Mini, because a lot of people had no idea. They had never seen the first generation.
Right. But the name, I mean, you have sort of evolved since 2002 so much. In 14 years, the brand has evolved into something completely different than it started in 2002. And now it's like the latest Minis I've seen, especially like the Clubman. It's so handcrafted and it's so like well made and it's like so fine. It's almost like, you talk about these luxury cars that cost $350,000 when it's all hand stitched. It gives you that kind of feeling, that impression inside the car, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so nice to be here at this event because here we are, since 2002, we have all of these, passionate owners. These owners are more like Harley Davidson owners more than any other car company that I can reference. And, and then the product is definitely evolving. So we're making the best product we've ever made. Which is really strange
because I own a Mini and a Harley Davidson.
There you go. There you go. It's perfect.
Must be in my DNA as well. I noticed a couple people doing some things, and one of the things that caught your eye is someone had taken a Countryman and jacked it up and put big wheels on it. Now, what do you think about that? Does that start the wheels spinning in the product development? Because that's really your specialty there. You're looking at what the next generations of Minis are going to sort of have that come to the United States and the new ones. Yeah. You're thinking that maybe we should look at what a lift kit would be like?
Well, it's a good question because it's one of those things that I look at and I love it personally. And but when a customer does this to their car, it's fine. But when we want to do it as a car company, it's a little tricky because you have to look at fuel economy, you have to look at crash testing, you have to look at is it physically possible, like from an engineering standpoint. So that's always so. Sometimes we see things here that we love, but it's kind of hard to replicate.
Right.
But it's still inspiration nonetheless.
And I know that's the same with a lot of these car companies. They do the same thing, but then you just make them aftermarket parts, right? And then the responsibility is a little less on you and more, or you work with a company that makes them, for those people with their understanding that they're modifying the car and this is not how it was you'd intended it to come to market in that way too as well. Now, are you going to be on? Are you going all the way this year?
I am going all the way.
All right. Well, Pat McKenna from Mini Mini USA, thank you so much for being with us here. When we return on Test Miles, we're going to talk to some of the other people here at Mini Takes Estates, and we're going to see if we can catch up with some of the people at the opening ceremonies. We'll be right back.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles, and you know the noise here is building and building, but part of Mini Takes Estates this year is helping fight hunger across America, defy hunger, and Mini have teamed up with Feeding America, the organization, the largest of its kind that feeds Americans, and Rowena is here from Feeding America. Tell me a little bit about why it's important to feed America. Do we have a food shortage? Do we have a food problem? Do we have hungry people in America?
Hey Nick, this is Rowena, and thank you so much for asking that question. We do have a hunger crisis in the U.S. 1 in 7 families don't know where their next meal is coming from, and more importantly, 1 in 5 kids are facing hunger, and that is a real crisis here in the U.S.
So Mini Takes Estates this year have partnered with the food with you, Feeding America, and what does Feeding America do?
So Feeding America is the nation's leader in hunger relief, and we're a nationwide network of 200 food banks, including the Oregon Food Bank right in Portland.
And so you basically sort of coordinate supplying food. Now, I heard some interesting stats yesterday that 40% of the food produced in the United States actually never makes it to a store or a table. It goes straight into landfill. How are you diverting some of that food to tables?
So a lot of times, farmers, rather than plowing under, will give their food to food banks. But the hard part is it's more cost effective for them to put the food into the landfill rather than donate it, because there's gas and labor costs. So by Mini partnering with Feeding America, the donations that are being raised help go to offset some of those costs, and really helps reduce waste in the U.S., but also helps feed those 1 in 5 kids who are facing hunger.
And so if you want to donate, you can just go to minitakesestates.com and you're able to help along the way.
That's
as well.
Right. Or feedingamerica.com/mini.
And so hopefully, I heard yesterday that the goal is 800,000 meals. Is that right?
That's right. And we're already at 642,820.
On day one?
On day one.
Oh, wow.
So I imagine by the time we actually hit the West Coast, I'm hoping we're at 1 million plus. And all of this helps food banks like the Oregon Food Bank in Portland.
Now I'm with Tom Noble. Tom, you are the marketing chief of Mini, right?
That is correct, yes, in America.
In America. So your responsibilities are how we look and feel about Mini, is that right?
Yep, that's for sure. How we look and feel, and also how we engage. So how people get to, talk to us, or we talk to them, and commune together, which is kind of what this is all about.
Well, one of the things I like is you obviously what you're talking or what you're saying is being listened to, because you have 900 Mini owners that are going all the way on Mini Takes Estates, and Pat tells me that's about 2 or 3 times what it has ever been.
Yep. Normally, we do them every 2 years, and as soon as we finish one, we pretty much start thinking about the next one, because it takes 2 years to put together the route, where we would stop, sort of putting entertainment together for people, because you're always trying to do something that's not expected, so it takes a little bit longer to figure that out.
I know one of the things that has sort of been drummed into my head over the last couple of days is there's a lot of hidden gems along the route that we'll be seeing. So obviously you've had this plan on your desk like weekly for the last since you've been in the position. Is there anything that any states where you are absolutely cannot hold your breath and you have to tell me what the hidden gem is?
Well, if I told you what the hidden gem is, it wouldn't be hidden anymore.
I'm a little worried about being on Mini Takes Estates, that all I'm going to be doing is visiting like bad diners and Chick-fil-A's and like fast food. So during the trip, does some of these things like not involve food?
Yes, there will be a few sort of not in food involving things. There's a big rock sculpture somewhere out in South Dakota that we'll probably be driving by. I mean, look. But I've never been to Mount Rushmore, and I think that'll be pretty cool. Just 500 or 600 minis out in front of Mount Rushmore would be a pretty cool image, I think.
Absolutely. So when you put this trip together, you decided to do track-to-track this year. So does that mean that every night we end up at a different racetrack?
Unfortunately, there's not that many tracks around America, but wherever we could find a track, we would. And again, it's all about sort of harkening back to the motorsport heritage, winning the Dakar Rally and also winning Monte Carlo Rally back in the 60s. So, you know, we try to be as sporty as we can.
I noticed that one of the big things here is you know, everybody is an individual. That's one of the things about Mini is, and also your big idea is defying labels right now, and so you have some you've had some competitions going on with your dealers to defy labels, haven't you?
We have, and it's really about having local people sort of enter to tell us what labels that they've defied. So today we're going to announce who the winner is. We've got sort of down to 4 people, and there's some incredible things that folks have overcome. You can see them on the website, but you know, we've got one group of a husband and wife couple who are paraplegics but are also certified scuba divers and can still drive cars, and I think they're going to be on the rally with us here today.
And I know that the one that I was like interested in is or just like shocked about is the fact that they met in rehab together, I think, and they're not young.
No, neither are you, or am I. But I think they're probably around our age.
And they've been basically together for a long time.
I think they met when they were like 20 or 21, something like that, and they've stuck together for I think it's close to 30-odd years now.
That's a pretty incredible story too, as well. Meeting in rehab and both having really bad accidents. Looking at all these people here too, I mean, the individualism of the cars is reflected in the individualism of the people. I see everything from teenagers who have minis all the way up to people, you know, in their 70s that have minis as well. So, who is the typical mini buyer?
There is no typical mini buyer. I think it's when you think about mini, and you can't really talk about age or demographics. It's more about a mindset. It's more about people who like to make individual choices. You know, in America, if you buy a small car, you're different. You know, with gas at around $2 a gallon now, everybody's buying big cars. So choosing to buy a Mini is kind of making a statement about I do what I like to do, and I'm independent. I'm an independent thinker. Those are the type of folks that I think we would sort of say are Mini owners. There are also people who are interested in heritage and design. You know, when you get into a Mini, there's always interesting features to look at, and you know, it's different from just a car that gets you from point A to point B. You know, there's been thought put into everything, and I think the Mini owners appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not a toaster. All right, well, Tom, thanks for talking to us. Enjoy Mini Texas Stakes, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you along the route.
Sounds great.
You're listening to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com. Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles, and we've actually made it through the first leg of Mini Takes the States. We made it all the way to North Carolina, and what we thought, it wouldn't be a good program about the event if we didn't catch up with some Mini owners. So I've managed to wrangle some Mini owners. They were headed out the door. We managed to get a net. They didn't escape. We got them inside. So why don't you introduce yourselves and tell me where you're from?
Gwen Stensler, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Jason Stensler, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Emma Fagerberg, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Excellent. So you're in your own backyard here. Did you join in Atlanta, or how far are you going?
We started in Atlanta, and we are going through St. Ignace.
Now, so really, before we get over across the top of the United States, you're sort of just going up the eastern seaboard, right? Now, you guys are not new Mini owners. I found that out just a second ago. You've had several Minis, haven't you?
Yes, we have. My husband's had a 79, an 89, a 2008, a 2010. I have a 2011, and he currently has a JCW 2015.
Now, of course, he has the fast, fun car. Do you ever worry about it when he leaves the house in that car?
Not really. He's a great driver.
Oh, look at that. Somebody's getting a good pat on the back there. Now, you started off in Atlanta today. You were at the celebration. Walk me through what your day was like when you arrived at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
It was packed. There were a lot of people. Really fun. Lots of vendors. We got up in the stands, had all the introductions. We had the skydivers come down. That was amazing. I mean, just a really great experience.
Right, so there were 2 skydivers who jumped out of a plane. Actually, there were 3. One had a banner on, and he just landed on the field. And then these 2 guys hit them. They landed in the minis perfectly. I have to tell you a secret. Not many people know this. I watched them rehearse that the day before. They only hit, and then they rehearsed all day. They only hit the cars like twice out of like 4 or 5 attempts. And a couple of them were really close, like one leg in, one leg hit the trunk, and that sort of thing. But I would say on the rehearsal day it was really windy. On the actual day of the jump today, it wasn't windy at all. There was no wind at all. Now, how do you guys, now obviously living in this part of the country, you're used to some heat, right?
Oh, yeah, we're used to it. I mean, not quite this hot. I think it's hit over 100 degrees. But
I saw 103 today.
Yeah, the humidity, though, we're kind of used to that.
So, and Atlanta's a little bit hotter than the Carolinas, right?
Yeah, typically, it's a little bit warmer, 3, 4, 5 degrees. And then the humidity, when I lived in southeast Georgia, that's the worst part.
And it's funny, for me, when I get up in the morning and do television, I'm used to having like these makeup artists who just do makeup, right? Because I sit in a studio all day. These guys were spraying me with sunblock before we even started the makeup because we were going to be outside the whole day. And I'm like, what? And she's getting up in the back of my hair and my ears and this a Q-tip inside my ears with sunblock. And I said, what's all this? She goes, you will thank the Lord later on in the day when your ears are not blistering red. So I had to get used to the heat. It was pretty tough. All right, so how was the drive? You guys started off, whereabouts were you in the pack when you left?
We were probably, halfway? About middle, yeah, about middle. And great drive, great countryside. We stopped a couple times. We stopped at Laura's Tea Room. Really good turnout in Ridgeway. The ladies there told us that we probably tripled their population today. So it was a lot of fun.
Did Minnie have a part in bringing you two together?
Oh, well, sort of. Well, we already knew each other and we were already dating and everything, but I switched over from SUVs to Minis after I met him. So
I had her do a Phil Wicks Driving Academy in Kershaw, South Carolina, and he's been my race instructor for the last probably 5-6 years. But once I got her into my car, my 2010 was pretty much modified to almost a true race car. She did that, started out the racetrack about 45 miles an hour, but by the end of the day, she was hitting all the turns at 100 miles an hour.
It was so much fun. And we go to VIR Raceway now in Virginia, and it's just so cool. So much fun.
So you are Miniacs?
Yeah, I think so.
I learned that word today. It's basically what we call people who just can't get their head out of being a Mini.
We even have the Lego Mini, the classic Mini, that has that put together, 1,000 pieces put together. And Emma put most of it together, but it's on her display case now.
Emma, you don't have a Mini, right?
No, I can't drive yet.
So when you do drive, do you think it has to be a Mini or nothing?
I would think so. Like once I learn how to drive stick and everything, I would drive a Mini.
Do you know how much I love to hear that? When you learn to drive stick, don't learn. You know, when I grew up, I think I only knew one person with an automatic car. I grew up in England. They didn't have automatic cars in England. And so when I came across a few people today that didn't know how to drive a stick, and I was like, let me teach you. And these were like 35-year-old men. And I was like, let me teach you. And so, driving a stick is so much more fun. Although if you live in a city that has a lot of traffic, you probably don't want to drive a stick because it bugs you. Do you get your Mini John Cooper Works out on the road sometimes and just open it up and let it go?
Oh yeah, the big thing is simple as the on ramps, and then usually hit with Gwen yelling at me at about 100 miles an hour, and I say I'm merging, it's okay. But then the big is really fun is just taking the track days up at VIR because it's only about an hour away, and we'll do the full course there, about 3.2 miles around. And it's carousels up and down, S's and all that. And the JCW stock would do about 127 miles an hour on the back straight, but now it's a little bit modified, so it'll do about 135 in the back straight. So.
Is this bankrupting you? Because I know what happens is as soon as you get into this, you're like, ooh, they have a new chip that I can get. Oh, there's this aftermarket exhaust. Ooh, I can. I took my new Mini. I took delivery of it yesterday, right? I'm already going, and I'm looking at all the other Minis going, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. And they're like, wait a second, you have a Clubman. A Clubman is supposed to be like purist. It's the purist Mini. It's the Mini that you don't do all that crazy stuff with as well. Let's talk a little bit about Feeding America, because that's the whole purpose of this. The whole idea of this trip is to raise money and awareness to Feed America. Did you guys get involved in that portion of it?
I signed up for the Feed America so that I could connect with all my friends through Facebook and get them to donate as well. So yeah, I think so. And we've done several donations as well.
One of the things I was most surprised at is 40% of the food that's grown in the United States never makes it to a grocery store or a kitchen table. It goes straight into a landfill. And it's just because the price drops too low. It doesn't make sense for the farmer to harvest the crop. And so one thing that Feeding America is doing is paying the money to go to the farms and have them harvest all of this stuff and take it to the food banks. So they're actually making this. Otherwise, the farmers just plow it back into the field and then plant again next year, hoping for a better year. And that, to me, was pretty sad. And then the shocking news to find out that 1 in 5 kids in America goes hungry. And I had no idea. I mean, I see those ads on TV all the time to give money to these charities to save kids in another country, but I had no idea that there were kids in ours. So what's your goal of raising money?
My goal, I think, would be overall, maybe if I could get $500, from my friends and colleagues on Facebook. I'm a teacher, so I'm going to reach out to all my teacher friends, because we see the kids that, they come to school and they haven't had breakfast, or, we're aware of it. And I want to, maybe $500, $1,000, if I could get it, that would be great.
Right. So do you know how can we find your Feeding America page?
My Feeding America page is going to be posted on my Facebook.
Right. So do you remember the name of your team, or what you called your?
I don't remember.
All right. What we're trying to do is we'll post it on our website, testmiles.com, so you can go to our website. If we'll exchange information, and we'll try and post yours. I'm trying to raise. So we wanted 800,000 meals. That was kind of the goal here. Every dollar raises 11 meals. So the idea is I want to do $1,000 so I can do 11,000 meals. That's kind of my goal, to see if we can do it. So I'll help you out and see if we can get a few listeners to donate to the page. Thanks for being part of Mini Takes the States. Enjoy the rest of your drive, and I can assure you the fun has just begun, because they keep telling me that every single stop is going to be a surprise and going to be fun. Tonight, are you guys going to go over to the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Look at some of the NASCARs and wish that those guys had decided to drive minis, right?
Oh, of course.
Actually, when I was, I maintained most of the drivers' aircraft, and Bob Labonte, which I think he still does. He has a Mini Cooper, and Earnhardt Jr. used to have a Mini Cooper until his friends picked on him, so he got a really big truck.
But he was probably much happier in a mini, a small Mini. And I'm sure he had a John Cooper Works at some point. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of Mini Takes the States. When we come back, we've got more Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
All right, into the final lap of Test Miles. I am Nick Miles, and we have caught up with one of our friends who I think has been on the show 2 or 3 times before, Roman Micah from the Fast Lane Truck and Fast Lane Car. But today, all about cars and minis and Mini Takes the States. Kind of a weird event, right?
You know, it's an unusual event, Nick, because nobody else does it, right? None of the other car manufacturers do these kinds of crazy 4,000-mile road trips. It's really cool that Mini actually does this. It involves the owners. They get super excited. It involves a charity. They're raising awareness of hunger and bringing food to people, and it's a really nice and thoughtful road trip to do.
I think one of the things when I look at Mini Takes the States is I don't know any other car club. Like, I see car clubs getting together, like the Camaro Club or the Mazda Club and stuff, and they maybe have 70 members, you know, to show out, and they're all regionally based. This is like a national event, and I mean, it's a USA thing. It's not just your local car club, your Saturday morning cars and coffee, right? These are fanatical people from all over the United States, actually all over the world. There are people coming in from Italy and Germany too.
Yeah, I was watching some of the owners and their cars, and it's a lifestyle car, right? So people buy these cars because it's an expression of their personality, and there's some really cool cars out there. I saw a car that somebody actually had all their friends ride on, so somehow they actually wrote on the entire car, "Good luck, have fun,
Right.
This is a cool road trip." You see cars that are done up in all sorts of crazy colors, crazy motifs. It's just an expression of who these people are, and this is their chance, I think, to share that love of the brand and of the car and of the lifestyle with a whole bunch of other like-minded individuals.
One of the things I noticed about it is we talked to Patrick McKenna in the first segment of the show, and Patrick was saying that this is a really good proving ground for him to do R&D. Like, he can walk down and see how people have modified their Minis and see if that would actually work from the factory. So, I mean, I started to look at Minis in a different light when I said there's one out there that was really raised with huge tires on. I think it might have been the blue one that had all the signatures on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that sort of thing. But the tires were enormous on it. It didn't even look like a Mini anymore.
Yeah, Mini likes to say that no two Minis are alike. And certainly here we saw, at least 800, 1,000 Minis, and I didn't see 2 that were alike. So maybe that's more than just marketing. Maybe that's real.
One of the things that I also found with them is that Minis sort of moved away from the crazy purple hair type person to now, I'm seeing Minis with much more mainstream stuff on them, like, people with a Texas flag on the back of the Mini and that sort of thing. So it used to be where, what crazy color can I paint? I mean, I still see the tie-dye Mini out there, and I still see those type of things. But Mini owners are much more, they're like, we're not crazy, but we don't want to be the same as everybody else.
All right, I'm going to ask your listeners a question, see how smart they are, right? There is one other car that has this kind of cliche that is very similar in terms of its ownership group, that has a very similar event yet different. Can you guess what that car is?
Personally, no, I have no choice. I would have said Miata or a Beetle would have been my choices.
Think off-road. I'm going to give you a hint.
Oh, a Wrangler.
Exactly.
Wrangler.
A Wrangler with the Easter Jeep Safari, which we attend every year, is very similar. And it's kind of the off-road version of what Mini Takes the States is. So
Right.
It's very similar, lifestyle, convertible. People really personalize them. They do them up in different ways. It's really cool.
I think the other thing too is that I found when looking through some of these Minis is that it's not so much about people and they personalize the vehicles, but they personalize them as a group. So I saw so many people with door stickers that said Mini Takes the States, people with T-shirts that say 2016 going all the way, those type of things where it's the event that they personalize the event as much as they do the vehicle.
Yeah, and I saw one that said "Spank Me," so I thought that was more fun.
Of course you did.
Yeah. It seems to be a car that skews both masculine and feminine, A lot of cars are very masculine, a lot of cars are very feminine. This one seems to, go both ways.
It's funny you should mention that too. It's like the Defy labels. So they had the finalists of the Defy labels, which was really kind of cool here. And those were people that had come through the Mini community who had defied labels. And the one that caught my attention the most, I think, there were some great stories in there, but was this guy who is a professional hockey player by day and a drag queen by night. And that's really what Minnie's all about. It's like, those are the two opposites. They always tell you in broadcasting comedy, you've got to marry two really weird ideas together to make something funny and something entertaining, right? And this is exactly what he'd done. I mean, it was really entertaining.
Yeah, I saw him walk by, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he's a Canadian, eh? It's like, hey, okay, I'm going to play hockey during the day, and then at night I'm going to put the wig and the makeup on and then drive my Mini to the drag club, yeah.
Right. I mean, to me, that's about defining labels. I also got a sneak peek today of the new Mini advertising campaign for the Olympics, and that blew my mind because they have picked Olympians who defy labels. Like, I'm a Muslim, I came from a poor background, and people who have made the USA Olympic team who are from different backgrounds who you wouldn't expect, who beat all the odds. And so kind of Mini's about beating the odds, really, isn't it? It's about challenger. It's about the challenger. It's about the underdog.
Yeah, I agree. It's about personality, right? It's your chance to have your car be an expression of who you are. And sure, a lot of that is kind of marketing, right? They want to have this image, but the best marketing has an ounce of truth in it. And I think Mini has that, right? It's not just an everyday car that people use to commute to work. It's a car that people use and love and customize because it's part of their lives.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. Well, thank you, Roman, for being a guest on Test Miles. Of course, you're always welcome. When you move to Portland, Oregon, I'm sure that you'll be on the show on a weekly basis. Again, if you want to follow Mini Takes Estates, the website is minitexestates.com. You can donate and also go to Test Miles and check that out. We'll be back again next week with another show. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.